And President Trump signed an executive order that will end the process of separating children and their families who entered the U.S. illegally. Well, this is a reversal of President Trump's previous claims that federal law and a court decision required the separation of families who were detained coming into the United States. From May 5th through June 9th, more than 2,300 minors were separated from their families at the border, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Well, this order will not end the administration's, quote, zero tolerance policy, which criminally prosecutes adults caught illegally crossing the border. And for more, we turn to civil rights attorney Robert Patillo and Ned Ryun, CEO of American Majority. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, to put it into perspective, I want to start off with a tweet the president sent out yesterday. It reads, quote, "Children are being used by some of the worst criminals on earth as a means to enter our country. Has anyone been looking at the crime taking place south of the border? It is historic, with some countries the most dangerous places in the world." Now, with this in mind, knowing the president wants to verify who is coming into the country, is this executive order the best compromise? Robert, we'll start with you.
Well, of course it's not. Of course it's not the best compromise. One, the president has to realize what 100 years of U.S. policy towards Central and South America has caused. Our efforts to destabilize governments, our efforts to set up puppet dictators. That's why we have this level of crime and dysfunction in Central America. Secondarily, let's understand for a fact what the president has done is basically reinstitute catch and release, which he criticized under Obama. You're not going to keep these kids in detention for 2, 3, and 4 years waiting deportation proceedings. So these people will come in, they'll be charged, and then they'll be released into the general population. He's done a complete reversal on everything that he promised his base, and he is not going to achieve the stated goal, which is to ameliorate this immigration problem.
How do you see it, Ned? Is this a good compromise?
I think it's a start in the right direction. I mean, this is a mess, as Robert said. I mean, we have a real problem south of our border. You would look at Mexico, and I think we're on the verge of it potentially being a failed state. You look at Central America, Latin America, I think 43 of the top 50 most violent cities are down in that region. I mean, we're having a breakdown of civil society south of our border, and it's causing obviously real issues. And I would say honestly that we've come to this point with our immigration debate because of an unholy alliance between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats for political reasons and Republican interests for business reasons. And it's something that we actually have to address. So I was happy that Donald Trump, at least in the short term, took some of this off the table so that we can hopefully get to a real debate on how we solve this problem. And I've been telling people on this side of the aisle, you know, in political compromises, everybody walks away with something, but most people walk away a little unhappy because they had to give something up. And so I would hope that we actually get to a point where we can have a conversation and say, you know what, the DACA dreamers, the 694,000, they should be put on a path to citizenship, but in return, we should have a border wall, we should have full border security, we should end chain migration. And the other point that I want to leave with the viewers is this. If we don't deal with this problem of illegal immigration and all of these immigrants coming in 10 or 15 years from now when mass automation hits and they're all thrown out of work, there's either going to be bloodshed in our streets or they're going to be thrown on social welfare programs, and we will have to fund it with life-crushing draconian taxes. So we have to make a decision, and we better solve it now.
Well, Ned, you bring up an interesting point about it being party affiliated. Now, other presidents like Bill Clinton and Barack Obama have used strong language about illegal immigrants, and Obama is known for deporting many immigrants. So
right.
Although some say it's a partisan issue, Ned, do you really think it is?
No, I don't. I mean, I view this as both a Republican and a Democrat issue in which, you know, presidents in the past have had to deal. What we're dealing with today was signed into law by Bill Clinton, detention centers under George W. Bush, Obama, now Trump. I mean, this is a Republican and Democrat problem, and we keep kicking the can down the road. And at some point, we do have to come to the table and make a compromise and say, we have to hit the restart button, understand that we didn't get to this mess overnight. Both parties are at fault. We have to come up with a solution, because the further we go down this path, the more implications, serious implications it's going to have for us as a society as a whole.
Robert, your thoughts on that?
Well, let's understand, one, on the point of what happens in 10 or 15 years. One, in 1970, for every American worker that retired, there were 5 workers to replace them. Today, there's 3 workers to replace that same worker retiring today. So we have to have immigration into this country to make up and keep our population strong. Well, yeah, we have to streamline our immigration process where it doesn't take 20 years to become a legal resident of America.
Don't disagree.
Don't disagree. Secondarily, regarding the detention centers, this is not a solution to the actual problem. The solution to the actual problem is comprehensive immigration reform. All this is doing is continuing to kick the can down the road. As long as the president insists on a $25 billion pointless border wall, which he has never articulated how he's going to pay for it, then the immigration debate is going to get kicked down to the next president and the next president after that. We have to have real action based in reality, based on effectiveness, not simply fantasies and campaign rhetoric.
And now people are compassionate, and regardless of where you're from, the general consensus is that it's our human nature to want to help others. But where do we draw the line of having borders and laws and regulations, yet still helping those in need? Robert?
Well, look, my mom came to America in the 1980s when she married my father. She did not become a citizen until 2008. When it was time to vote for President Obama. That's how complicated and convoluted our citizenship system is in this country. We got to streamline it. We have to take it out of Ellis Island in the 1800s and turn it into something that's effective for today so we can have the legal immigration that we need to support businesses, to support the blue collar, and keep the American economy rolling, because somebody has to pay our Social Security, and the American workers aren't working the jobs needed to do that.
Ned, I'll give you the last word.
No, I agree actually with Robert. We have to streamline the process. We have to come up with a better, systematic, more streamlined approach to who's coming in. I like how the Canadians and Australians have done it with a little bit of a merit-based system, but we would both agree there have to be solutions. It has to be streamlined. I think probably the differences we would have is where do you draw the line on how many are brought in, who's being let in, all of these things. But the thing that's amazing to me, when you start to have real debates across the aisle, you realize there's a lot more that we have in agreement than disagreement. Now's the time to come to the table and say, we'll give you this if we get this. Let's come up with a solution. It's for the best of the country.
We will have to live it there. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That was civil rights attorney Robert Patillo and Ned Ryun, CEO of American Majority.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.